Potter's Journal 2019, 2020, read the calendar. There is so much more to making pots than just turning them on the wheel. Last week in the studio I made some large weight loss bowls, fruit bowls with a wavy scalloped edge. But there was a few problems. They had a blocky edge as opposed to smooth flowing curves, and the same with the way it transitions into the side of the pot. I meant for them not to be trimmed on the bottom, and they did need it. And when I went to cut the last one off, the wire came so close to going through, so way too thin a bottom. But I came up with some interesting saves. One which involved a tennis ball. So let's see what's going on in the studio today. What's going on in the studio today? Sometimes it is a little bit of everything. I didn't like these when they came off the wheel. Some of them came off kind of square and blocky, and curve here that came straight out, so I've been fixing that. It's a day later. They're not quite leather hard, and first, to round them out, I've just been going like this with a tennis ball, and then to get that curve to go down in, I've been taking it and bringing it down to bring it out. And then after going around, I've even come out on the outside and done this here, pushing in. And also sometimes there was a place where it was a little square and blocky, a little push and pinch there. So you can come back and work these things. I was really disappointed when I took them off the wheel, but now they've got a bit more elegant feel, a lot lighter looking, more like the pieces I made in the past. Probably not the best thing to throw yourself into something so big. And then the bottom too. Since I want to trim these a little bit better, but I do not want to put them on the wheel to trim them. I did not cut this off the bat, so I'm able to put this back on. As I said in the last video on the weight loss bowl, I'm making these relatively cheaply, selling them about 10 or 15% below what I should be. And, I don't have a big enough bat to put this back on the wheel, or I do, but it would take a lot of extra time. So I'm coming back in here now and turning the wheel on. I turned that off so that I wouldn't throw the piece if I accidentally stepped on it. And okay, taking just a little more off of there. It really doesn't take much. Well, I did the best I could while it was wet, but it's not taking much now to give it that just slightly more elegant wheel. Another little sharper undercut under that. So just a little bit more to give it an extra bit of lightness. Okay, and there's still some scraps in here. If I try to clean them out now, I think I'm just going to smear them into the pot. So I'm going to let it dry, and then they will just rub and brush off of there. So these are still, kind of crudely, primitively made. I'm not sure that that's the term, folk arty, country style. But just that little bit will help refine the form enough. By not cutting them off the bat, I was able to put them back on the wheel to trim. The other reason I don't cut them off is because they have a tendency to re-stick to the bat if I cut them off when wet. These and platters. So apparently I have a bat wire that's too thin. I'll have to get to Milheim, PA, and get a wider leech wire to cut these off. Now, before I can flip these, they need to dry out a bit. So I am trying to get plastic up around and to cover the rim. and holding it up so that we get some air down to the bottom. And in here, we'll let that stiffen up, and then I will do the flip. Often people will do that with flame and torches, but just give it a day. It'll do it on its own. What's going on in the studio today? It is another day, and it is time, okay, to give these guys a flip. And let's dry out. Okay, from the top down, but now upside down. And I probably should have given these a stamp before I turned them. Let's see if I can find it. Well, maybe not now. And one of them had way too thin a bottom, so I took the slab roller, rolled out a slab, put a lot of slip on it, or a little bit of slip on, placed this on top, pressed down from the inside, and we will see what happens. What else is going on in the studio? Always the unforeseen, reclaiming some clay, and a leak in the bucket. So we'll have that to clean up. And just when I finished mopping the floor a week ago. It is time for my annual disclaimer. These are not tutorials. Why? Because there are people out there far more skilled and better teachers than me. And there are people far less skilled claiming to be tutorials. And I don't want to fall in that category. So if you're watching, if you're entertained, if you do learn something, I guess I can't stop you. Learning something, how do I glaze a big bowl like that? Well, I've done that video before in special equipment and a wild ride. 2 wooden sticks and a large bowl. I did learn. It was the first time I did it in that video. I could do another video. It would be a lot smoother, slicker, nicely done, but probably not nearly as entertaining to watch. I don't feel like I have direction yet this year, but by throwing myself into it with the large bowls, with the mugs, all the handles, the little stuff, votives, egg separators. Oh, Freddie, you know sponge holders aren't my thing. This is the practice run. This is before the race. This is the warm-up. This is getting me going, so hopefully there are better things to come. And okay, I did it too with the sketchbook in the journal. Just started sketching things out, some new ideas, so hopefully we got something going. And even if I don't, this is my 3rd year back to making mugs. Each year they get a little bit better. The second year I noticed they took less clay to make quite a larger mug. Last year I did have to put the barrel ones on the wheel to stamp or to trim the bottoms. This year I got them cut off the wheel and they don't need trimming, so things are moving along there. So just stop back and see what happens in the studio this year. We'll take a quick look too on how that bowl works to best advantage. I've got a first kiln burning, and when we get them glazed, here's what the groove in the lip will do with the glazes. For best use, okay, not only does it need to be placed conveniently in the ice box, but maybe moved up to the next shelf so it is at eye level.